Okay, so today is the 250th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. And, to commemorate that event, I thought I would just do a video, just tell some people about my Marine Corps experience. And, just kind of, I don't know, have a digital record of this. Maybe my kids will see it someday or something. So, in September of 2000, on the 11th, on 9/11/2000, my brother and I joined the United States Marine Corps. So, of course, I didn't get my first choice. It was kind of last minute. I had initially, since I was a little kid and saw that movie Navy SEALs, I had wanted to be a Navy SEAL, but I'm not great in the water. I'm fine if I have like a mask on and like flippers and stuff, but I'm just not good in the water, swimming, like freestyle. I don't feel comfortable in the water. I don't like it. So I don't like a couple things, and deep water is one of them. So I decided to go into the Army infantry and be a ranger. I had the recruiter come out to the house. I was supposed to go down to MEPS. My dad did not want me to do that. So I applied to some colleges. I got into VCU art school. I went there for 2 years. Eventually, changed my majors. But some other stuff happened, and I decided that I wanted to go into the Marine Corps when my little brother went in. So he already had a West Coast guarantee. So I made sure I had a West Coast guarantee so we could at least be on the same coast. I tried it again. I joined September 11th of 2000. So it was peacetime. There was no stuff going on. So I told the recruiter, I'm like, hey, I want to do stuff in the Marine Corps. I want to do some cool, some good schools. So when I get out, maybe I can do SWAT or something of that nature. So he was like, hey, you don't want to be infantry. You're just going to be cleaning weapons all day and playing F around games. So I tried to get a West Coast guarantee with security forces. I could not get a West Coast guarantee with security forces. So I was going to try to go fast company, but I could not get the West Coast guarantee. So he said the next best bet was to go military police and go SRT. So that's what I had planned to do. I got my second choice, which was military police. But out of MP school, I got sent to a field unit. And in the field unit, you're not part of PMO, and you cannot try out for SRT. So I didn't really do what I wanted to do, but I was a field MP. We had hardback Humvees with machine guns. We ran all the machine gun ranges for the MSSG. And so that's what I did. I did the 11th MU. I deployed there. Some stuff happened around Falaka Island. Most people don't know about that in Kuwait. And as we were coming back, Iraq was kicking off. So we got, they kept us together in the MU as CSSB 19. And we redeployed to Iraq. We were doing EPW transport, convoy security. I escorted some, I was like an armed security for like some of the officers when they were going back and forth to bases or to the ports. Kind of had an uneventful Iraq deployment. Got there kind of early. They were still shooting Scuds across the border, and we were having to go into bunkers and grab our mop gear. And that would happen in the middle of the night, so that was a pain in the butt. But I never shot anybody or had to shoot anybody. I had a lot of bullets, and I wanted to, but I never was put in a situation where I had to do that. I did have to point my gun at some Iraqis and yell at them, like, get the, and they understood that. They were mobbing the vehicles when we were in choke points like bridges one at a time. So I did have to yell at some guys. We had to force some vehicles off the road. Saw some kids that got ran over or something. You would hear pop shots or see some tracers in the distance, but I never got any combat. So I feel better about that now, but it still kind of bothered me. You do all this stuff, you get deployed, and you don't get to do the cool stuff like you wanted to do. So my brother and I were in Iraq at the same time, so it was pretty tough on my family. So I didn't know where he was. I know he was north of me. When we were in Iraq, it was farther south, and he was pushing past Baghdad and farther north of that. And they did push past their supplies at one point because they were, they were kicking ass. And really, that whole war was won in like 2 weeks. And the rest of it, we were just occupying and sitting on street corners doing stuff. But I think that war was really won in the first 2 weeks. So we're about to get out. I would have had to extend for the next deployment. I wanted to get out because I did not like being owned by the government and having them dictate my entire life. And right as we were getting out, I was planning on taking trout fishing trips with my brother, but he got sent back as casualty replacement for 2-4. And that was rough. You're just nervous. You have your little brother out there. You don't know where he is. You're thinking he's going to get killed any minute. A ton of guys were getting killed on that deployment. It was a very dangerous deployment. It was hard on him. So I finished out my last 4 months at PMO. I did some patrol car work, did some gate time, and before PMO, I did do some workups for the next deployment, but I didn't extend, so I got moved to PMO, then I got out. So I got out in 2004. My brother got home safe from his casualty replacement. They actually flew them from the battlefield straight home, went through the tip and tap stuff, and then they were civilians from some of the worst IEDs in combat to being a civilian, and that was probably not good for those guys. Luckily, they have a pretty good network. Between my brother and I, we've lost a handful of guys to drugs, alcohol, suicide stuff. My best friend in the Marine Corps volunteered for the National Guard because the GI Bill kind of sucked. The post 9/11 is better, so he joined the Guard to pay for all of his college. Because the GI Bill at the time was not covering books and other expenses and BAH. It was covering just reimbursing you for classes. And I think if you failed the class, you did not get reimbursed. So a lot more expenses. I was having to work, so I didn't finish college when I got out because I was working and trying to go to college. I eventually just took a job and have been doing that. So my buddy in 2010, Brian Hoover, he was killed by a suicide bomber. It was a 12-year-old boy dressed up like a woman in a burqa. It blew him up, the guy next to him. And so my best friend from the Marine Corps was killed in 2010, years after, I got out. He tried the Marine Reserves, got out, went into the Guard to pay for college, finished college, volunteered for a deployment, and then got killed. So then there's a couple of years of that where I'm going to memorial events, funerals, trying to keep in contact with guys. So in the Marine Corps, I was a saw gunner. I was one of the few guys that had a 249 saw as my personal weapon all the time. I only qualified once in the Marine Corps, and I shot a 53. I shot a 56 on pre-qual day, but that doesn't count unless you declare it ahead of time. So I only qualified once in the Marine Corps because our scores kept rolling over because of deployments. And the saws were heavy, they sucked. When we did all the MUSOC, the workup humps, I had to carry the saw and my own A-barrel, and I thought it was smart to carry a Camelback, and that was heavy and stupid. And I had a pistol. So that made all that stuff harder. It kind of sucked. But I wanted the saw because, it's a machine gun. But I got to shoot a lot of machine guns and help run ranges for Desert Fire X, CACs, the engineers, the MPs. We did most of the machine gun ranges for the Pogues. That was fun. I always took the chance to shoot machine guns. I never understood the guys that would go to machine gun ranges and hand off their ammo. And I had to clean the machine guns anyway, so why not, shoot the ammo through them. That's it for the most part. I guess as far as one thing that's always made me, I've found interesting about the Marine Corps. So I was only in from 2000 to 2004. Of course, I missed this whole part. On September 11th, on my year mark, that's when 9/11 happened. So my year mark on 9/11, I was in 29 Palms. We found out about 9/11, and that changed like the whole trajectory of the Marine Corps. I was also in it at a time where we had Woodlands, Vietnam-style flak jackets, Precor 19s, M16 A2s, and a whole different Marine Corps. Peacetime Marine Corps, you're doing stupid stuff. People are messing with you. The good guys get sit on the muse. All that changed when wartime stuff started happening. Now the companies are keeping the good guys back. Switching to digitals, switching to Molly, all the pack frames breaking, us testing stuff out like that. Did I say the digital camis? We were switching to that, switching to the suede boots, away from the polished, guys are wearing Carolinas, spit shining stuff. So I saw like a pretty cool transition, which was interesting. Saw a lot of stuff on 9/11. On the way down to our Desert Fire X, people are yelling at us, cussing at us, not letting us over on Interstate 5. Like when we were headed to drive the vehicles around, headed to the 29 Palms CAX, or whatever road that is with all the windmills. So people generally don't like the Marines around base. Impossible to find a girlfriend, like a nice girl. It's just, Marines can be jerks, and the base is surrounded by strip clubs, tattoo parlors, and bars. Not somewhere where you probably want to hang out forever. But on the way back, everybody's cheering for us. Oh, we love you, go get them. Because I guess they figured we were mobilizing because we were driving military vehicles down the highway. So everybody started wearing American flags. There was flags all over everybody's vehicles. It was kind of cool to see, but it was funny seeing that transition from going to a field op to on the way back. Now all of a sudden everybody loves you. And but it was, I guess, cool seeing that everybody kind of like be pro-American. So that's pretty much it. But one thing I wanted to say, so I was only in during that time, 2000, 2004. I did think about re-enlisting at some point when I got out. I had a reserve station calling me, and they wanted me to help with convoy security stuff. But most guys only do 4 years, but they're Marines for life, and sometimes guys get hung up on those 4 years or 8 years because that might be the best thing they've ever done, and they've formed some of the closest trauma bonds that they're ever going to form in their entire life. And they love those guys. I mean, I would have died for like my buddies. So I wish I got to stay in touch with them better. And sometimes I wonder if some guys don't want to because of our friend, our close friend dying, and maybe they don't want to revisit that, so they just kind of keep breaking contact or ghosting me when we're supposed to go hang out. So whatever, and maybe they just don't like me. But that's about it. But one thing I will say is it's not bad to let that define you. But I didn't really want to hang on to that and make that like a defining moment of my life. Like, always, rest on my haunches on that 4 years when I was a Marine and, live off of what I did back then. So I don't think that's a good thing to do. I think it's good to have pride and brotherhood and stay close to your buddies, especially, with all the suicide stuff. But you really have to keep going and keep pushing and keep achieving stuff, and don't make that your identity. I know a lot of guys that are like that. I know a lot of guys that are like that didn't deploy, and they had the chance to, but they didn't. So, so that's all I got. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had joined the Army in 2000. Well, not 2000, sorry, in 1998. I probably would have been an NCO by the time 9/11 happened, and would have been probably East Coast. Could have ended up in Afghanistan, so I could be dead. It's crazy how things work out. And one thing that's crazy is I actually had my wife, she's like 6 years younger than me, so I had her and her mom and her little sister send me a care package when I was in Iraq. Of course, I didn't get it back until I got back from overseas, and it was had dial soap in there, so all the Oreos and stuff in there like tasted like and smelled like dial soap, and the box was all smashed up, stuff was falling out. It was probably in a big like shipping container, you know, in the sun somewhere getting hot. But I ended up marrying my wife that sent me a care package when I was, she was probably in like high school or something, or middle school. But I wasn't dating her then. But when I got out, you know, when I was like 26 or 20, I think 27, I met her. But yeah, that's it. So this is the 250th quarter century. What is that, quarter century? Is that right? 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. Only happens every so often, so I thought I'd make a video about this. There's one of my posters. I have a couple recruiting posters. Oh, when I was in high school, we always had, I didn't really know what the Marine Corps was, but the Marine recruiters would always show up. I'd go to the pull-up contest and win, like, you know, sippy cups and posters and stuff. But I did have the poster on my wall of the guy with a rope over his shoulder with the K-bar, and he's got the face paint on. I had that above my bed in high school, so that was kind of cool. I wish I still had that poster. Something else that I did that was weird. So I was in like 4th or 5th grade when Desert Storm was going on. I've never saved any news clippings in my whole life. I cut out a news clipping, and the guy has an MP thing on his arm. He was in a hardback Humvee running out of one. You know, the guys were like doing like maybe like a contact or ambush or something. The guy's running around the Hummer. It's a hardback. Guys on the machine gun. I cut that out, and I saved it from like 94, 95. I still have that, and that ended up being my MOS when I was in Iraq. So to me, that's crazy. It's almost like I knew that was going to happen, but that's wild. I think I shared that picture on my Facebook. I just thought that was a really crazy thing to happen. So I found out recently this year my staff sergeant had passed away from those 2 deployments. That sucks. I had been looking for him on Facebook and stuff. So sometimes it's hard to find guys. Some guys fall off or don't want to be found. Some guys die and you never know about it. They died in a car accident or drugs or got arrested. So I'll close with this. You got buddies you're still talking to. I got to do better at this. I wish I was better at this. Stay in touch. Get a good network, a group. Call each other. It only takes a couple big events to really push somebody over the edge. So look out for your buddies. And one thing I've always said, the Marine Corps does not make Marines. If you want to join the Marine Corps, you're like, could be a badass or whatever, you know, it could help. But one thing I do think, I don't think the Marine Corps makes Marines. I think the Marine Corps gives a place for Marines to rally. Like, I think those people weren't created. I think they just exist and they're out there and they're all kind of seeking the same thing. And maybe they're all a little bit crazy, because who would want to do that, right? So I'm not going to sing a bunch of cadences, but I do miss all the old, you know, like when somebody says, how you doing there, Smith? And you're like, Gunny, kill, you know, rah, all that stuff. I do wonder what life would have been like if I had to stay in. But who knows? I could have got killed. Some of the worst fighting probably in the Marine Corps was from 2004 to 2008, I guess. A lot of back-to-back deployments. So who knows? I guess maybe I could be dead, so I can't complain. All right, you guys be good. Semper Fi. 250 years. Y'all have a good one and be safe. Arrah! Urkill, Devil, Jarring, Devil Pup, Tufel, Hunden, Devil Nuts. What's some other ones? Jarhead. I don't know. I need to work out. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Is PT every day. Do some pull-ups. Maybe I'll try to do 20 and post that. See if I can still hit 20, being almost 46. All right. Later. Killers, devils.